We are all very fortunate to have elderly people in our families. But because we do, many of us think that we are the experts in all things old folks. We think we know everything about them, but in reality, we really don't know shit. Today, we will discuss preconceived notions and misconceptions about the elderly population. Let's get to work.
Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died.
Power rising, King brothers and Queen sisters. Thank you for stopping by and welcome to the village. I am the village elder. Today's discussion, we're going to address the misconceptions about elderly people. Again, this is something else that my grandmother would have wanted you to know. I will begin by giving some background on my paternal grandmother, who passed away in 2020 at the age of 89. She almost made it to her 90th birthday. She died during the COVID pandemic. She contracted COVID. She had it for a few months before anyone even knew what it was or had a name for it. My paternal grandmother, like many black women during that time, got married at a very young age. She got married at the age of 15. She had her first child at the age of 16. And by the time she was 35, my grandfather had a massive stroke and died at the age of 40. My grandmother became a widow at the age of 35, a widow with 7 children. When my grandfather was living, she was the wife of a sharecropper, so she helped her husband farm. And when my grandfather passed away, my grandmother took several jobs to make ends meet and to feed her 7 children. My grandmother told me that the first job that she took after my grandfather passed away was at the tobacco factory, where many black women worked at the time. She also cleaned white folks' houses, like many black women during that time. When she left the tobacco factory, she took a job at a nursing home in Farmville, North Carolina. She worked at that nursing home for several years before she took a job with the school system. My grandmother worked in custodial services at the school system for over 30 years. When she retired from the school system after 30 plus years, my grandmother took a job that not many people care to take, but that tell you what type of special woman my grandmother was. She took a job that many people wouldn't dare to take, wouldn't care to take, and many people her age wouldn't think about taking. She took a job at Dobbs School, which was a reformatory school. We all know what a reformatory school is. It's basically prison for children. My grandmother loved children, and there was no such thing as a bad child to her. She just believed in loving on people, as she called it. Even when she was in the school system, she often talked about the kids who were basically thrown away, picked on, may not have had much at home, and because of what they didn't have at home, they were picked on at school by kids. Sometimes she described children who came to school smelling like pee, and my grandmother, it made no difference to her. Those children needed love the most, and she would just love on them and hug them and give them a hug every day. Some of those kids grew up to be adults who never forgotten how my grandmother treated them. And in their adult days, they would approach my grandmother and would ask if she remembered them. My grandmother loved on so many children, and as she started getting up in age, she couldn't remember these, every child that she loved on. And plus, people over time, their faces changed, and they used to bother my grandmother that she couldn't remember everybody. It would bother her. But that's what kind of woman she was. She loved children, and she saw the good in everybody. So when she took this job at the reformatory school, Dobbs School, down in Kinston, North Carolina, that was probably the highlight of her life. She loved those boys. Sometimes I would come home on the weekends. I lived an hour and a half away. And when my grandmother talked about those boys at Dobbs School, her face would light up like a Christmas tree. I can tell in her old age that those boys gave her life, gave her a second life, a new life. They honored my grandmother, and my grandmother honored them. She loved those boys. She loved to tell me this story that she would always ask, when they bring in new boys, give me the worst. Give me the baddest boys you got in there. Those were the boys that she would be assigned to as a foster grandmother. And when I tell you she loved those boys, I can't say it enough. Those were her new grandsons, and I love that for her. And my grandmother worked that job into her 80s, until the drive to work, until that 20-minute drive got to be too much for her. And this is one of the things that my grandmother would have wanted the people over at Dobbs to know. That drive to work will get to be too much for those foster grandparents. Put provisions in place to be able to go pick up those grandparents. They still want to be there. Just like my grandmother, she wanted to be there to her dying day. She was a foster grandparent, I think, up until 86, when the drive got to be too much. Trying to drive in ice and snow and just driving in rain. So I don't know what Dobbs School is called now. They renamed the school. But if any of you see this, get some vans to go pick up those foster grandparents. Those foster grandparents still want to be there for those boys, but they may not be able to make the drive anymore. Put provisions in place so you can maybe get a van to go pick up all the foster grandmothers and grandfathers, all the foster grandparents. Go pick them up so they don't have to drive to work, because they still want to be there for those kids. They've built relationships with those children, those young boys, and they're guiding them on a better path, on a right path. Those young boys just need to be loved. And it takes a special type of person, a special type of elderly person, grandparent, to be able to reach those kids, to give them a reason to change for the better. Many of those kids may not have gotten it at home. Some of them may have gotten it at home, but needed a second opinion from somebody else telling them the exact same thing. And once they start seeing that more and more elderly people are telling them the same thing, then they begin to understand that there's something to this. If multiple people are telling me the same thing, if everybody's telling me the same thing, I need to listen. So sometimes information coming from your own parent or your own grandparent may not resonate with that child. Sometimes adults, young adults. But when they begin to see the pattern and start to hear the same message from different elders, the same message over and over and over again, they'll begin to listen, and they'll see that there's something to this message that I need to take heed to. So to you parents out there who are struggling with your child, that you think that they're not listening, keep planting those seeds. Keep telling them what they need to hear. This is something my grandmother would have wanted you to know. When the time is right, and if they start hearing the same seeds from different people, then that seed will begin to grow. So don't give up on your child. Don't give up on giving the message or planting the seeds in your child. You're doing your part as a parent. Now let other people help you to raise your child. It takes a village. And this is something that my grandmother would have wanted you to know. Until next time, understand your assignment, stay focused, and remain resilient. Ashe.
Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to